Namaste and hello, this is your Sanskrit instructor welcoming you back into lesson number 126. In the previous lesson, we learned about in the previous lesson, we went over what declensions we learned about so far. And we categorize the declensions that we learned about so far by putting them under the nouns that they end with. Some of these types of nouns have a similarity by the nouns that they end with, but they differ by the gender. So now that we've learned about so many different types of declensions, now it is an appropriate time to learn about adjectives. So far, all we have done are sandhis, nouns, and verbs. Now it is time to learn about adjectives. So the adjective, whether in Sanskrit, whether it is used as an epithet or a predicate, that adjective agrees with the noun it qualifies in gender, number, and case. When we were writing sentences in Sanskrit, the nouns always agreed with the verb that was related to it by number. In the same way, the adjective has to agree with the noun, but on a deeper level, not only in number, but like the verbs and the nouns, not only in number, the adjective has to agree with the noun, but also in gender and case. So the first type of adjective that we're going to learn about are adjectives that end in a. So the type of declension that we're going to want to focus on, since that adjective ends in a, we're going to want to focus on this first box here, because we're going to want to be familiar with these types of declensions. So most of the adjectives ending in a form their feminine in long a and their neuter in So for example, the first adjective we're going to learn about is priya. So priya means dear in Sanskrit. So if this type of adjective has to agree with a noun in the masculine, then priya is going to have to be declined like kupaha. And if it has to agree with a feminine noun, if priya has to agree with a feminine noun, then we're going to have to decline the word priya as lataha. And if priya it has to agree with a neuter noun, then we're going to have to decline priya like how we decline vanam. So that is why we categorized the types of nouns in this way, so that we can close in on them. So once you take a look at priya, that is an adjective that ends in a, you know what are the three possibilities. What are the three types of ways that you could decline it, depend on what type of noun you're working with. So let us go over some examples. So, for example, if we wanted to say the deer, so baleih, bala is boy, so baleih is by or with the boys. Instrumental, plural, masculine. So we know that this is masculine. We wanted to agree with gender, number, it's plural, and its case. So baleih, that means if it's masculine, that means priya has to be declined like kupaha. It has to be declined like kupaha. So that is why you end up with priyaih baleih. It just so happens that baleih is also declined like kupaha. But let us say that we weren't working with a masculine noun that ends with a, and we were working with a masculine noun that ends with u, for example. Just because, even though it ends with u, because priya ends with an a at the end, you're still going to have to decline it as kupaha and not like shishu, for example. That's a masculine noun that ends in u. You wouldn't have to decline priya like shishu. Because priya ends with an a and it's masculine, you have to decline it as kupaha because you are working with a masculine noun. So as long as it's masculine, it doesn't matter what type of vowel it ends with. You have to decline priya as kupaha. So you have priyaiha, baalaiha, this visarg, the sandhi between priyaiha and baalaiha. It's going to become priyair baalaiha because this visarg is going to turn into a ra. Because when a visarg is preceded by any vowel except a or a and followed by a soft consonant, it turns into a half ra or a ra with a halant on it. Now, our next example, we have duhitra. Duhitra is instrumental, feminine, and singular. Now, what we want to look at again is what gender it is in so that we can know what type of declension we should use for priya. Since it is feminine, we have to decline priya like lataha. So this is the one that we want to decline priya as. So that's why after declining priya in the feminine and putting it in the instrumental singular like lataha, it becomes priyaya duhitra. And then same for, because priyaya is instrumental, feminine, and singular, and it is declined like lataha. And last but not least, we have our final example is varirni. So that is locative, singular, and neuter. Since we are working with a neuter type gender, we are going to have to decline priya this time, like vanam. So varirni. So now that we know we have to decline it like varnam, we have to decline priya like varnam and put it in the locative singular case. And priya declined like varnam in the locative singular case, it becomes priye and then varirni. So priye varirni. Varirni came from a neuter noun that ends in ri. But even though that ends in ri, we are still declining priya like vanam because it is neuter. They're both neuter in gender, but priya is declined like vanam. So be mindful of what types of nouns you're working with, what gender they start with, and know the rules for how an adjective should be declined, and you'll be fine. And this is your Sanskrit instructor signing off with a namaste.